Can you move over a little bit? Your desk over here. Can you move over a little bit? In the beginning of the board. Okay, we're gonna board.
Wait, Ren. You have this class? Huh? You have this class? What is it? Space.
Perfect. Okay. Should be interesting. And like I said, this is a presentation. We don't got to worry about this guy going bald anytime soon. That's a fact. Have a seat. You guys, my name is Mr. McBean. I've been a teacher for 24 years. I've only been bald for like 21 of them. Okay, so I've been taking questions about being bald my whole career, and I think there's a young man in this room that just finally asked me the question, like, Mr. McBean, what's it like to wear a hat when you're bald? Mr. McBean, what's it like when you fit your head when you're bald? Well, basically, I said, that's it. Like, I'll answer questions, but I'm going to give a little workshop. Okay, so that's me. All right. Really? When I was about 12 years old, and those were my bangs, and that was my little haircut. I sort of remember what it was like. And if you look closely, that unicycle is the exact same one that's up here in the corner. So I obviously keep a bunch of stuff, and it travels with me through the years. All right. So grew up on the streets of New York. I had hair just like everyone else. Never thought anything of it. My dad, full head of hair. Both grandpas, bald and bald. So I didn't really think about it too much until about the 90s. All right. When I was a kid, basically this was the most popular show. All right. You guys ever seen Saved by the Bell or heard of it? Anyways, this dude right here, Zach Morris, was like my age. Hey, I'm not playing around. Okay. This is like we're in the auditorium. Just look up here, and you guys can just grab another seat if you can. Grab the mini desk for it if you can. So I wanted to be this guy. I came home from school at age 12, 13, 14, and this was the most popular kid on TV. It was Zach Morris with all these dudes about a high school, and that was the hairstyle that, we all had to have, okay? Basically, I got to about, I'm going to say 11th grade, 12th grade, okay? And listen, okay, you athletes, you football players, the shoulder pads were big on us back then. They just gave us giant shoulder pads, and I think this is probably the fall of 1993 when I was in 12th grade. And I remember, fact, you get done with your conditioning and practice. Coach is like, all right, go grab some water. And back then, no one had water bottles. It was like a hose hooked up to the tube, and all the water came out, and you just sat there and drank it. I remember this day, I took off my helmet, and football helmets, you got to like squeeze in and take them off, and you pull them off this way. And I remember looking down at that white kind of inside foam top of the helmet, and I was like, there's a hair. There's two. I was like, this is kind of weird. Maybe my hair is too long. Maybe I got hit really hard. I don't know. Back then it was full contact, helmet to helmet. I was like, this is kind of weird. The next day, the same thing. I'm like, okay, please don't be here. Please don't be here. Oh, there's some more hair. And I was like, this is kind of weird. I've always kind of had, I wanted the Zach Morris hair from Saved by the Bell. All that was still there, and I was just kind of panicked, and there was nothing to really, I couldn't ask anybody. I couldn't really pull this out. There was no Google. There was no internet. We had AOL, but it was more like chat rooms and like news feeds, and it wasn't like real research. So what I did was I went in my family's living room. You guys ever heard of encyclopedias? Do you guys know what an encyclopedia is? So they're still in the library, actually. I remember I pulled out the encyclopedia and I flipped it. It was our only source of info. And I looked it up and I was like, balding. And it said C, also male pattern balding. And I was like, all right. I did it when no one was home. I remember I was in like the living room, like almost like I was sneaking around on the internet, but I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't know what was going on. Okay, so here we go. This is what I found out. I was like, okay, my hair's okay here now, but it's falling out in this area. And I'm like, okay, do I want to, I felt like I was more like this guy. And I was kind of more like that guy when it recedes back. And here's a 2-minute story that kind of changed my life. Any of you guys have hairdressers that you had since you were like real little, or a barber? Okay, mine's name was Santo, and he was in the middle of my town. And this dude was a big Italian guy, looked really cool, talked really cool, and he had been cutting my hair since I was about 3 years old. A little bit after this picture was taken, the football picture, I remember sitting there in the barber's chair, and he's doing this. So, you know what I'm talking about. So first they take the comb and they kind of like comb your hair down in the front before they cut it, right? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You got that barber's cape on. I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and Santo goes, hey. I go, yeah, Santo. He goes, he's combing my hair. He goes, did you cut your hair yourself? I go, what do you mean? He goes, it's already starting to break off. I go, what, Santo? And he looks at me and kind of like rolls his eyes and just keeps on cutting my hair. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I went right back to the encyclopedia when I got home. And what it said was when the hair follicles start to die, the little bulbs on the end of your hair, when they start to die on the inside of your scalp, the first thing that happens is it breaks halfway through. That means it's unhealthy. And in males, if your hair is breaking halfway, you may be in trouble. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. I don't want to look like this guy in college. I don't want to deal with one of those like circles in the back, like some people I see here on this campus, okay? So basically, I knew I had a little bit of time before maybe the inevitable. Inevitable means like it's about to happen. So I look like this. Oh yeah, by the way, this is my senior year picture, okay? We wore turtlenecks and we wore Argyle sweaters. And if you can see, not a huge issue, but my hairline didn't look like Zach Morris's. And oh yeah, this is me when I was a DJ when I was in high school, and I had like a mullet. You can't see, there'll be another mullet picture later. But I knew that at one point this was probably gonna have to happen. And you guys, this is like mid-90s, late 90s, when not many people were really shaving their heads, okay? So I knew I had a couple years left. And I know for a fact that I think when I was a senior in high school, I probably looked a little bit older, no? How old do I look here?
20.
20 maybe, I don't know.
19.
A little bit older. We all had the one single hoop earring in our left ear. No one had them in the right, and no one had like the double cubic zirconians in their ears like we see today. Basically, here's a little mullet shot right here. This is my sister Lauren. This is in front of a Christmas tree. I had like the turtleneck and the mullet going on. I do remember having those bangs. And I do remember this product called Rogaine came out. And it was like, if you were going bald, everyone's like, oh man, do I got to get you some Rogaine? I was like, no, man, I'm cool. And the commercials were on TV. And it was kind of one of these things where, you know, I'm looking at it going, man, what am I going to do? Should I get this Rogaine? I'm only 20 years old. You know, I knew that it was going to happen, but here's how I kind of discovered some information. Freshman year, I played Division I lacrosse in Indianapolis, Indiana, and they shaved all the freshmen's heads. So I got a little preview, and they were like, let's go. So I was looking at my head. It was like kind of thin a little bit, but I saw what my bare head looked like, and I was like, you know what? My head is not that bad of a shape. Some people, you know, I don't know how many of you guys have ever shaved, but I mean, besides these guys, okay, I can see you got a pretty good shaped head, pretty good, all right. But if you've never shaved your head, even girls, can you imagine what your scalp looks like if you got down to like a 0 or like a 1 guard? It's kind of shocking. I was looking at myself going, maybe I could pull this off one day when I finally shave it. I knew it was going to happen. And basically, I started my teaching career, moved out here, and the added insecurity, which drove me crazy, was, I was 23 years old when I started teaching. And I was teaching at a middle school level, at Madrona Middle School. And those kids were like, Mr. McBean, how old are you? I was like, how old do you think I am? And I had some hair. I was kind of combing it over a little bit. I was holding out for dear life. I made it through college with some hair. But basically, they were like, are you 40 or are you 45? I was like, no, I'm only in my mid-20s. They're like, what do you mean? And at the same time, I got the balding gene from both grandpas, and I got the gray hair gene from my mom's side. So in my early 20s, I was not only kind of going bald, but I had gray hair coming out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be an old, bald, gray guy by the time I'm 25. And I remember I was a substitute I was first subbing before I started teaching at Torrance High School. I walked in there with a shirt and tie on, and those kids were like, bro, are you the new assistant principal? And I was like, no, man, I'm just a young kid sub. I don't know what I'm doing here. That was one of those ones where I just remember back then, those kids did not know what to think and whatever. So I went from Zach Morris to this dude. I think this is one of the last pictures when I was about 23 years old of my hairline, and it was creeping back. I didn't have the flowing locks going this way, and I had a little goatee. And usually guys that, not usually, but nowadays I guess everybody has beards. But back then, when they were kind of getting bald, they would grow beards to take the attention off the top of their head, so it would be more like on their face. Okay, so that's one of the last pictures of me with some sort of hair. I'm gonna start with the cons. Okay, this is early 2000s. I think I've been 20 years with a shaved head. Razors, I guess they're expensive. Any of you boys actually have to buy like a Gillette 5-blade deal? They're expensive, right? I mean, I'm talking, they're like $40 for a little sleeve. You're right. Eating spicy food. You guys sweat more than you know it, and when you guys sweat, the most of your sweat coming from your head kind of gets absorbed into your hair like a t-shirt. When you have no hair and you sweat a little bit, your head beads up. So it's like one of those things where if I'm at a restaurant and I'm going to take down like a dozen spicy wings, I know I'm going to sweat. And I'm like, here we go. I'm taking off my hat. I'm getting ready because I started to eat spicy stuff and the top of my head starts to sweat. And it's kind of embarrassing sometimes. The grow out, I remember kids are like, Mr. McBean, why don't you grow your hair out? And I remember when I was brand new father, and I was holding the babies, like the big 1.5-year-olds who can barely talk, or the 3-year-olds, and they'd be like, Daddy, they'd be like hitting my head, going, Daddy, why don't you have hair? And why does that daddy have hair? Say, okay, kids, here's the deal. And this is what I said to them for all the earlier. I said, if I grow out my hair, I'm not going to look like Daddy anymore. I'm going to look like Grampy. I would pick like an old bald gray guy, and I'd look like that guy. Do you want me to look like that guy with just kind of a grayish strip around my head? Or do you want me to look like this? They were like, I guess you can just look like our daddy for now, so you can keep on shaving your head. Okay. So basically, is it forever? I guess. Who knows? Sun protection, that's kind of one of the cons. I cannot forget if I'm out somewhere and I'm going to be in like a July summer day for like more than an hour or two, or maybe more than 30 minutes. This is my go-to right here. This is the Target SPF 30. And over all the years, especially in the warm months, the kids are like, Mr. McBean, why is your head so shiny? Mr. McBean, what do you like? Okay, well, my head's shiny because I take the sunblock, I go like this, all over my whole head, and you have to because obvious reasons, right? Skin cancer runs kind of in my family. Double O's, not accepted so much. You see this dude right here? Some people in 2003, when I first shaved my head, I was walking around the grocery store in a tank top or something with like, maybe not a designer t-shirt, and I looked the way I look. People would look at me and they'd go, is this some kind of crazy person, or is this some kind of skin-headed convict that looks like this? And it wasn't as accepted. I'm just telling you that. So it was kind of a newer thing. I obviously don't have tattoos on my head, and I'm not a felon, getting convicted, but it was just different back then. All right. So I said, whatever, let it ride. Here's the pros. The pros are getting ready. Takes 1 second. Okay. I got a decent shaped head, I think. Here's how much money I've saved. And this is just an estimate. In 20 years, you guys, that's 240 months. I think that some people get their haircut once a month. If we average $30 with tip, which is cheap nowadays, you guys know that if you go to a barber shop, you're paying 40 to 50 to 60. If you go to a real one, how much does like Shafiq charge over here on Torrance Boulevard?
40.
40 with the tip. Okay, so this is how much money I've saved in 20 years, over $7,200. It's pretty accepted now. You see women on TV with their head shaved. It's an easy Halloween costume, if you remember me from the past 2 Halloweens here.
Yep.
And the thing is, I tell kids, I tell whoever, I'm probably going to look the same forever, all right? My hairstyle is never going to change. I think maybe one day, maybe my eyebrows will get gray when I'm going to retire, but that's pretty much it. So it's like I'm stuck in a time machine, and I'm just going to look the same forever, okay? Here's the deal. I'm going to give you guys some advice. I give this to most of my kids, and some of them use it, some of them don't. I run into 25, 30-year-olds who are like, Mr. McBean, you should have done what you said. I'm glad you guys took off the beanies, by the way. Here's what I'm going to say. If there's any baldness in your family, do you remember this one, Jacob? If there's any baldness in your family, if your grandpa's bald, dad's bald, uncle, whoever, and you're wearing beanies or a hat every single day, I feel like I wore a hat from 7th grade to 12th grade. During those years, I feel like I played helmet sports, and basically you have to let your hair follicles breathe, okay? If you don't, it's going to expedite or speed up the process that your hair is going to fall out of your scalp, or it's going to break off, and your barber's going to go, did you cut that? You're going to go, no, and you're going to have a flashback, okay? I've had kids email me before about going bald. Don't worry about it. I'm probably going to be a teacher at this school for at least 10 more years. So you can find my email address and let me know what's up. I will walk you through the process. I'll even shave your head if you want me to at some point. Okay. So with that being said, I know we have like 10 minutes left. I'm not going to talk the whole time. Who has a question? Any question? Anything at all? Go ahead, Raina.
This is not my question. This is from Axel. He asked, how do you keep your head shiny every day?
And what's the answer to that question?
Sunscreen.
Sunscreen. So obviously, it's not as shiny today as it would be in like May, but that's it. Question. Okay, this is what started it. So shampoo. Basically, I just use bar soap, right? And I just take the bar soap, and my shaving routine is 3 times a week. I shave my face on like Sunday nights. And I shave my head on like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or even Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I take bar soap and I go like this, and I basically wing it. And I've done it so many times that I can shave my head in probably like 2 minutes. Okay. But I do not use shampoo at all unless there's no more soap, or unless I'm in like one of those like horrible hotel showers that just has like the and I'll just take some shampoo and like, I don't know. Sometimes you have to use shampoo with soap. Question.
Do you use the same razor as you do on your face on your head?
Great question. Fantastic question. Same razor as my head and face? No. I have a 2 razor system. My head razors, they last about, put it this way, once a month with my face. I can stretch those out. I mean, once a week, I can stretch those out to about sometimes 4 to 5 months. But then my face razor, once it's kind of dull, gets transferred to my head razor the 3 times a week. Because this doesn't have to be as sharp as this. I'm not going to cut my head because like the skin in our head's stronger than the skin in our face. So I don't. And I can tell immediately, like once it's getting dull, I'm like, okay, it's not really working. I'm just like, whatever. So 2 different razors. Great question. Question over here. Question. I know you got a question. What about you?
Good.
That's fantastic hair. It almost doesn't even look real. It almost looks like I want to take it out and put it on my head. Okay. Question over here. What about you, Barry?
Huh?
Hey, you're the same name as this little guy.
Oh, his name's Barry?
Hey, Barry. We have a Barry over there. No more questions? No more comments? Yes, in the back. Go ahead. Yes. So here's the thing. I've worn wigs even when I had hair, right? So it's real funny, and the wigs are very easy to wear. And this one, like my dad gave me this for Christmas, is just a funny mullet wig. But this is kind of what my hair would look like if I had like long non-gray hair. Also, I even told you this today. I think hair is annoying at this point. I go like this, and it's kind of hot. It's kind of annoying. If you've never been bald, you don't know. But I feel like even if I could grow my hair right now immediately and take a pill. So when I was 20 years old, I thought the other balding guys, they were like, bro, don't worry about it. By the time we're 25, 30 years old, they're going to have a miracle pill that we're just going to take, and in 2 days, we're going to grow all of our hair back. That hasn't happened. But I'm telling you, I feel like even if I could do that, if there's a miracle pill, I would just shave it anyways and just whatever. I may try to get like old hairstyles or all the cool hairstyles that guys get now and try it out, but I feel like it's kind of annoying. I'm over it. I'm done. Question.
I'm sorry, but that mullet does not suit you.
It doesn't?
It does not.
I used to have a mullet kind of like this. I know, well, this is a bad shit. Like, this is not a great mullet because I would rather have it shaved up in the sides. I have friends that have current mullets right now. They're like older guys. They're trying to like bring mullets back. Wasn't there a kid last year, an older kid, kind of had a mullet like this, had a mustache, used to sit in the office. Remember that kid? No? Yeah? I was always like, dude, nice mullet. So this is a bad mullet, and I feel like I should probably trim it so it looks better. Good question, though. Good comment. Any more comments? We good? Yeah, go ahead. Comment?
So like I have baldness in my family.
Yes.
So like you said like don't wear hats or like. So
Don't wear hats every single day.
What about a hood? Is that fine?
A hood, like a loose hood, is fine, but if you're suffocating your hair follicles and there's no oxygen getting to your scalp ever, and you're you're wearing hats every day, it's gonna happen. Like especially if there's baldness in your family. So that's my advice to you. You're wearing hats a lot. All the time.
Target.
We know it. I'm just looking out for my people.
I can't see my head again.
Any more questions, comments? What about you, Mr. Question? What about you?
Oh, there's the brother.
Another bald guy.
I was gonna ask you, but next one's gone.
We've gone over a lot. We've gone over a lot of information, sir.
No, but Mr. Rollins washes his hair shampoo.
What's yours, Mr. Rollins?
I am also bald. And if you sign up for this next Thursday, you'll have a guest speaker, which is myself, describing things a little differently because
You have hair.
every journey is different.
Can I ask you one? Hold on. Can I ask you one clarifying question? And I was assuming this when I told the group. I said a lot of times when guys don't have, a lot of hair up here, they grow beards, even when not a lot of people grew beards back in the early 2000s. Is this the case with you maybe, or are you just a bearded guy and you're just going with it? Does it have anything to do with this?
It always has something to do with this.
Okay.
Always. As you well know, there is a period of time of mourning when the hair is
Yes.
gone, and self-reflection on who you really are. And sometimes you grow goatees or little stashes or, beards, full beards.
Mhm.
Sometimes you dye said beards. Sometimes you don't. But, everyone's journey is different.
A little bit of a preview.
Yeah,
Yes,
next
I-
Thursday.
Who's more bald?
To do that, we would have to let it grow out
We talked about that.
and then, go with that. I think he's more bald.
No, I think it's
Mr. Rollins.
Okay, so we both have cul-de-sacs, right? You guys know what cul-de-sacs are? It's like when it goes up and around, like you end the street.
Like a
So-
Friar Tuck. Do you guys know who Friar Tuck is? Well, you took cold, yes, correct. You guys know what Friar Tuck is? They don't do that. Yeah, so you start losing it up here. We'll go over that next Thursday.
Yeah, can't wait.
Right.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Head is smaller.
Well, I don't know. What's that
His
bar
is, he
there?
has a bigger head than I do. He has to
Looks
have
like the opposite.
triple extra large.
I
Mine
do.
will be double extra
I
large.
do. And like the thing is, my head is a 7 5/8. I could wear 7 3/4. For those of you guys that know hat sizes, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
7'3".
If I had hair, I wouldn't even, it would probably be like almost an 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like if I had this guy's hair, I would never wear a hat as long as I had.
Why would you?
Fantastic.
Well, I couldn't fit it on there.
Anyways, give yourselves a hand. Thanks for being a good audience. I appreciate that. And if you know anyone who's